For over 70 years, the United States has ruled the global stage, economically, militarily, scientifically, and culturally. After 2 world wars, the United States had effectively become the world's hegemon. Yet despite America's long-standing dominance on the global stage, a new force is rising across the Pacific: China. China, once underestimated, now unstoppable, is challenging the old world order. It's not just about armies or economies. It's a battle for influence, for technology, for the future itself. 2 of the world's biggest powers. So who is most likely to win this struggle for influence? In this video, we compare the USA and China across the most important indicators, and let the numbers speak for themselves.
Well, let's start with the economy.
And the first indicator is GDP. Gross domestic product, or GDP, is the total value of all goods and services produced by a country in a year. It's a standard measure of national economic power. In nominal terms, the US economy remains the world's largest. According to the IMF, its 2025 GDP is projected at approximately $30.5 trillion, growing at around 1.8% per annum. China ranks second, with a nominal GDP approaching $19.2 trillion. But it's growing at a faster pace. According to a July 2025 Reuters poll, China's full-year GDP growth is expected to reach around 4.6%, despite mounting economic pressures from US tariffs, deflation, and a weakening property sector. Also, one of the clearest indicators of economic well-being is GDP per capita. Gross domestic product, GDP per capita, is the total value of all goods and services produced within a country in a given period, usually a year, divided by the total population. It reflects approximately the average economic output per person and is often used as an indicator of living standards or productivity. In this regard, the United States remains far ahead. As of 2025, the US has a GDP per capita of around $89,000, making it one of the wealthiest major economies in the world. By contrast, China's GDP per capita is significantly lower, approximately $13,700 in 2025. Despite dramatic gains over the past 3 decades, China is still classified as an upper-middle-income country. This is largely due to its massive population, over 1.4 billion people, which dilutes the per capita figures, even as the total economy grows rapidly. That said, China's per capita income has risen more than 25-fold since 1990, pulling hundreds of millions out of poverty and rapidly growing its middle class. But closing the gap with advanced economies like the US will still take decades, especially as China's growth slows and demographic challenges emerge. After all, China is facing a rapidly aging population and a declining birth rate, leading to a shrinking workforce. This demographic shift threatens long-term economic growth and increases pressure on the country's social welfare systems. But the picture changes when we shift to purchasing power parity, or PPP. This is an alternative way to compare economies. Instead of looking at just the dollar value of output, PPP adjusts for the cost of living and local prices. There, China surpasses the US with an estimated $40 trillion in 2025 compared to America's $30.5 trillion. The United States remains dominant in wealth, innovation, and institutional stability. Its strengths lie in high-value services, global finance, and technological leadership. China, on the other hand, brings scale, speed, and strategic intent. Its manufacturing base is unmatched, and its ambitions, from energy and infrastructure to AI, position it as a serious challenger. Ultimately, the outcome of this struggle won't hinge on simple metrics like GDP or PPP alone. It will depend on which side adapts most effectively to this new geo-economic landscape, leveraging technological edge, resilience, and strategy to shape the rules of the future global order. However, based on the presented indicators, we can safely give the USA 1 point,
Let's talk military power.
a key pillar of global influence. The United States remains the world's top defense spender, with a 2025 budget of about $886 billion. China, in second place, spends roughly $230 billion but continues to ramp up military investment. In terms of personnel, China fields the world's largest standing army, about 2 million active troops. The US has 1.4 million but benefits from greater combat experience, better training, and advanced logistics. On land, the US operates around 6,200 main battle tanks, including the M1 Abrams. China has about 5,000, led by the Type 99. Quality, not just quantity, gives the US an edge. In the air, the US dominates, with 13,000-plus aircraft, including over 2,500 combat jets and hundreds of F-35s. China has around 1,700 combat aircraft, with the J-20 as its top stealth fighter. At sea, China has more ships, about 370 warships, but the US still leads in total firepower, with 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers to China's 3 conventional ones. And finally, the US has about 3,700 nuclear warheads, while China holds around 500-600, though it's rapidly expanding. One critical advantage the United States holds is its global alliance network, especially NATO. The US leads a coalition of over 30 member states under NATO, which collectively outspend China on defense by a wide margin and offer integrated command structures, interoperable forces, and strategic depth. Beyond Europe, the US maintains strong defense partnerships with countries like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Philippines, and the Taiwan. These alliances extend America's reach, reinforce deterrence, and effectively surround China with a ring of forward operating bases and mutual defense agreements. In contrast, China operates largely alone militarily, with no formal allies of comparable strategic value. Ultimately, while the US holds advantages in global reach, technology, and alliances, China's quantitative growth, regional focus, and industrial momentum have fundamentally reshaped the military balance, especially in the Indo-Pacific.
Considering all this,
The US gets another point.
population,
And demographics.
China remains the world's most
Populous nation with about 1.4 billion people, slightly ahead of India. The US population is around 340 million. China now faces major demographic challenges: a rapidly aging population, a falling birth rate, and a shrinking workforce. By contrast, the US maintains more favorable demographics thanks to higher fertility rates and immigration, which helps sustain its labor force and consumer base over the long term. Despite all of China's demographic problems and the good demographic trends of the US, China has a huge advantage in human resources and takes its first point. Science, technology, and education. The US continues to lead in research, innovation, and higher education, home to 17 of the world's top 20 universities and over 50% of global tech unicorns. China is catching up fast, investing heavily in AI, semiconductors, and quantum computing, and now produces more STEM graduates than any other country. But while it excels in scale and speed, the US still dominates in fundamental research, patents, and scientific breakthroughs, for now. And the USA gets another point. The US leads 3-1, with clear advantages in the economy, military power, and science and technology. China claims 1 point through its massive population and labor scale. But power is not static. China is evolving fast, industrially, technologically, and geopolitically. The future won't be decided by today's numbers alone, but by how each nation adapts to a rapidly shifting world. The lead may belong to America, for now, but the contest is far from over. Write your opinion in the comments and like. See you there.